Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have a better tomorrow. So, we got some news to cover today, and there's a lot of it. These are things that I would have obviously covered on Tuesday, but unfortunately some things came up and I was not able to be here and make the videos. So, I apologize in advance, but hey, to make up for it, we're going to have 3 videos today, so 2 more after this one because we have got a lot to cover. So, first things first, censorship of Japanese jokes in games. So, of course, when games are being imported from Japan elsewhere, of course, there's going to be localization, right? But the thing of this is that you're having some companies every once in a while come out and state that they didn't find things culturally appropriate. So, they're censoring things. Now, I don't approve of things like this because I don't like censorship, but that is just my opinion. But it's not their jobs to censor things, it's just their jobs to just translate it and get the game out there. That is their job. That is what they are supposed to be doing. But instead, they have been censoring the games to make things more culturally appropriate. So, of course, NIS response to claims of changing sexist Japanese jokes to be culturally appropriate. Nippon Ichi Software of America, or NISA, have issued a statement after staff made comments about their localization process caused uproar, many fearing censorship. Editing coordinator Eric Mort and project coordinator Moet Takahashi, jokingly referred to as editing overlord and project overlord respectively, took part in a Q&A session on January 15th via Twitch discussing the Legend of Heroes Trials of Cold Steel 3 and the localization process. You can see their segments start at 44 minutes and 20 seconds. Mark, they were asked how often they ran into jokes that did not work in English and how they reworked them. Both responded it happened all the time due to Japanese puns and how Mort was slowly learning how to say things to make people cringe in Japanese. Now, sometimes there are things that don't directly translate well. So, of course, whenever there are some statements in Japanese, of course, it won't translate well in English. So they have to rework it a little bit to make sure that it makes sense. Now, that's one big thing that happens sometimes, and that's understandable. I can give a pass to that. But in terms of where they think, we got to make it culturally appropriate, that's where the problem comes in because that's not their job. You see, the big thing here is that when it comes down to it, their job is just to translate the game and get it out there. That's it. It is not to switch it up to being culturally appropriate as they say they're doing. So let's continue on with more of what was being said here. Being many Japanese puns rely on knowledge of their history and mythology, or play on words that do not translate into English. It can be a difficult task to recreate a joke with the same meaning. Now here's where I have an issue with this, and this comes with the next statement. So listen to this. Takahashi then explained how localization for them involved considering what culture they were translating the game to. It's hard, but that is part of localization because whether or not it's a joke, we have to make sure that all the text makes sense, not just in the language, but in the culture that we're translating to. Then, of course, it goes on to say, Mort then explains how this can include Japanese jokes that have a different value than we do. Takahashi then explained, so things we tried to kind of work around, things that might be a little sexist, for example, in Japanese humor, and with those things, we like to try to make it more culturally appropriate for our players. I mean, it has to be made less funny either. Takahashi continued, stating, not at all. We can work in something even better sometimes. Oh yeah, because woke humor is the funniest thing ever. Oh man, so humorous. See, I don't like that at all. Because here's the thing. While I can give a pass to try to rework things to where sentences make sense and things of that sort, it doesn't mean they should go around and trying to swap up things because they find something offensive. Because there's a joke in there that they don't like or they don't agree with. The whole point to their job is to be sure that they translate the game and they get it out there, not to culturally appropriate the jokes, not try to offend people. Think of it as jokes themselves that were made by these developers, which, in my opinion, this is insulting to the developers because this is going against their original ideas. And that's one of the worst things I think they could be doing here, in which this is exactly what they're doing. They are taking the jokes and reworking them and remodeling them to fit their sense of humor so they don't offend anyone. And that's one thing that players have been worried about, in which we've known that this has been going on for a while. People have been fearing censorship. It's one of the biggest problems, and here's another prime example of a company coming out and saying, oh yes, well, we censor things if we don't find them culturally appropriate. I mean, that's exactly what they're doing here, and that's one huge problem, because it's not their job to do that. Their job is just to translate a game. I mean, look at another statement here. Lord explains how in Japanese they were silly, but didn't really resonate all that much. So we just decided, let's make them all a bunch of Trails memes. Takashi then quipped, let's be self-aware about it, while laughing. The comments caused outrage among fans and gamers who were concerned with censorship and inaccurate localization. Some expressed their desire to enjoy a Japanese game with Japanese culture with a direct translation as possible. And that's the big problem here, is that people don't want the jokes to be censored. People don't want the jokes to be culturally appropriate. They want the game to be intact the way it was meant to be. Because this goes against the developer's initial image whenever they rewrite the stuff in this way. And the fans, they just want the game to be what it was originally meant to be by the developers, rather than, oh, we found something offensive in the script, so we gotta completely change it for some woke joke. Nobody cares about that. People just want the game to be as the game was intended by the developers. That's what they want. They don't want the jokes to be censored. They want them to be the way they were meant to be. And by culturally appropriating jokes and censoring things, well, that upsets fans. That's why fans got upset over the situation. We've seen it many times before in the past. And, people don't like that. And, of course, then you have, on January 17th, NIS themselves came out with a statement. Now, this is what their statement was. NIS America does not engage in censorship or overzealous editing. We stand by our dedication to the authenticity of our localization efforts to properly contextualize a title within a localized framework for an English-speaking audience. It's kind of funny that they say that, considering that, I don't know, they had just before this had two people that worked on these games, as well as work for this company, that still currently work for the company, say, oh look, we censor things to make them culturally appropriate, and then come out and saying that, oh yeah, sure. But then again, of course, NIS has been known to censor things for a while, and this has been a big problem in the past. Looking at another statement here, NIS has seemingly been heavily criticized for the localization work in the past. These complaints center around the titles such as Criminal Girls Invitation, the Danganronpa series, the Disgaea series, Fairy Fencer F, Hyperdimension Neptunia series, Mugen Souls, Witch in the 100 Night, and more. And here's another big one. In November 2019, NIS were questioned by the fans why a particular bikini DLC costume for a character in the Legends of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 3 had not been made available in the West, after stating it was not due to censorship implemented by Sony's policies, because Sony's pretty infamous for those now. From December 2018 on PlayStation platforms, the DLC did become available later, though. So, going back to that, here's a big one as well. Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel 3, Juno Bikini DLC, absent in the West. And this is all the way back in November 12th. So here's that issue as well. And this is concerning the very same game. Now, characters in bikinis and swimsuits, I don't mind. Fan service is something that I think is fine. I don't see anything wrong with fan service. And many fans don't either. Just saying. So, here's what the article had to say. Update for Trails of Cold Steel 3 DLC's Juna's Active Red costume DLC is coming to North America and Europe and will be free for a limited time on release. Please look forward to further details in an upcoming announcement. Original. Fans have noted the Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 3 is missing a piece of costume DLC in the West. Even though the Juna's special costume Active Red DLC is available in Japan and Hong Kong, the same piece of DLC is not available in the US or UK. While some suspected this may be due to the character's age or the costume being too provocative, there are other characters who have had their DLC costumes available and with younger characters. Furthermore, the character's cheerleader DLC costume is also present in the US and UK PlayStation stores, featuring a form-fitting top and short skirt. Despite the above evidence, some were concerned that this was a partial implementation of Sony's policies. Now, seeing that how NIS is, I doubt this is Sony's policies. Now, of course, Sony could have had maybe a little bit to do with that, but seeing NIS's history, yeah, I don't think it would have all been totally on Sony there for that one, considering that, oh man, Tony and what they did to the Sinner and Kagura game, yeah, that's pretty unforgivable. I think we can all say we remember that, am I right? Rip to, Censoring Kagura on PlayStation. But, of course, there is a huge batch right here of the history of what NIS has done in terms of censorship in the past. Now, I want to take a look at this for a minute because this is a pretty big amount of stuff here. For example, Hyperdimension Neptunia 5. I mean, then again, Hyperdimension Neptunia in general, but I want to point this one out specifically because here's why I say this. Hyperdimension Neptunia 5. Very questionable localization quality, bad translation, unfunny jokes / lines, added to several dialogues which changed the characters' personalities at times, didn't tell the gamers about events that would not be included, then, when brought to attention, denied any and all knowledge of such DLC. Oh, so they denied any knowledge of the DLC despite there being DLC and then not releasing it from what it seems here. Sounds like we're hearing the same case here. Now, isn't that something? Now, looking at Criminal Girl's Invitation is another one. Censored the Punishment Time minigame, which has pink fog for every level of each minigame. Japanese version, the pink fog goes away on later levels. Remove the voices for the punishment minigames. Shoddy translation changed punishment time to motivation time for the punishment minigame and made the dialogue less lewd. And see, that's the big thing here, is that this company, they're definitely aware of what they're doing. They're censoring things despite the fact they're saying they're not. We don't need them to be our mommies and daddies and say, oh no, we gotta censor it because it could be too offensive. We don't need that. What we want is we want a game that is meant to be what it was intentionally meant to be all along. We don't need a watered down version of it. We need it to be what it was meant to originally be. And the more we talk about this and bring this stuff up, maybe the more they'll see this and start to learn that, well, hey, they want to make sales, then they got to appeal to the fans because, you turn the fans off, yeah, then they're not going to be buying your product, especially if you're taking away DLC that's not there or you're censoring a game from what it's originally meant to be. So, if they're not going to keep it the way it's supposed to be, then, I'm not going to buy the game myself. So just keep the game the way it's meant to be. But anyways, let me know what you think about this entire situation down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here, and make sure you're still subscribed because YouTube is unsubscribing people from their favorite channels. So make sure you're still subscribed to all your favorite channels. Hit the video with a like if you enjoyed. And make sure to share the video on social media. Spread the word and get it out there. It's greatly appreciated. It really helps out the channel a lot because YouTube doesn't like to support videos like these. And follow me on Discord. We have a wonderful community there and I hope you stay updated on when the next video will be out. as well as any other events as well. Links in the description down below. But anyways, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today. And remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow could always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you. And have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.